Well, the economy continues to improve. The latest jobs report for the month of July shows the sixth straight month that more than 200,000 jobs have been added to the economy, and that's the longest streak above 200,000 since 1997. Now, although unemployment was up slightly at 6.2%, it's down 1.1% compared to a year ago. Obviously, though, many people out there still looking for a job, and our career expert Kim McNicholas is here to offer some insight for all of those who are out there still looking for work.
And not just any insight, HireVue Insights. HireVue is a company that creates a technology that allows companies to conduct interviews online using their video platform. And they've had more than 3 million interviews conducted on their site. That's a lot. And more than they looked at more than 10,000 interactions and performance attributes, such as the questions being asked, how they're being answered, the words, the phrasing the candidates are using. And so they've been able to predict the top candidates for any job, or at least they think they can do this.
Yeah, they're on the road. Well, what surprised you in what they discovered at HireVue?
What actually I think surprised me is the range and quality of the evaluators themselves, the people who are doing the hiring, the people that are looking at the candidates and deciding who's going to get the job. Some of the evaluators would choose the right candidate 1 in 5 times, while others would choose the right candidate 4 out of 5 times. So imagine, being
what
that
a discrepancy that is, huh?
So imagine getting the short end of the stick.
Exactly.
Also, what really surprised me is the fact that only 6% of all applicants actually get to move on in the hiring process, that they actually get to interview for the job. So let's say there are 100 applicants for any particular job. 94 of those applicants don't even get a chance to even interview for that particular job, and they may be just as qualified as anyone else out there.
So tell us what HireVue does to try and straighten out these discrepancies.
So they have this analytics software, and they're able to say to these employers, hey, you know what? Based on our analytics software, yeah, you've chosen these great candidates, but you know what, there are some other ones that you may have overlooked that you do need to consider. And you know, one of the things in which they look at the keywords or the phrasing that a candidate may use, which is really important actually for the candidates themselves if they're going in for an interview, to make sure that they do use those keywords, those key phrases. For example, I'm familiar with this particular company, I'm familiar with this particular job, I'm flexible, I'm motivated, I'm a team player, I'm energetic, I'm positive. Companies absolutely love it, love it when you're really optimistic about a particular job.
So even though we hear time and time again that people say they're a team player, it's still important to say that, because I've heard some recruiters say, you know what, everybody tells us that. But apparently not so. Well,
it's not just about telling them that you're energetic or telling them that you're optimistic. It's showing them. It's being able to tell a story. Telling a story is so incredibly important, and being able to demonstrate your ability to do the job.
So back it up with a solid, concrete story of here's why I'm a team player. Let me
give examples.
Gotcha. Okay. What are some of the key questions that HireVue found that companies are asking consistently?
Bad ones. That's Mark Newman, the CEO of HireVue. He actually says that most employers are asking closed-ended questions and even logic questions. And that's a new trend right now that was started by Google. And I think that companies in Silicon Valley in particular are competing now to see who can ask the best logic questions. And that's great, because you do want to know how people think, but you also want to know so much more about a candidate. Just because they think in the right way doesn't mean that they're the right person for the job. And so a lot of companies now are asking, you know, of course, along the lines of, tell me about yourself, make sure you can answer that question. But 2, why do you want this particular position? Why does this position align with your personal interests as well as your career interests or your career goals?
So that's one of the keys that the employer, the recruiter, really wants to hear.
Yes.
What about the correct way of responding to those questions?
Okay, so I know that no one wants to hear this because everyone thinks that they can go into a job and they can just ace any sort of interview. That they're just going to wing it, right?
Yeah.
How can I go wrong?
Exactly.
But most of the time, we're not talking about ourselves, right? When we're sitting there, or at least I think for the most part, women don't, but men do a better job talking about themselves. So I think men have to practice a little bit less.
That ego gets involved.
But you can't just say to a question, for example, why do you want this job? Well, it's close to home. I mean, first and foremost, you really need to, sit down, prepare for these interviews. You need to first look within yourself, thinking about why do you deep down sincerely want to work at this company and have this job? What are your priorities and which aspects of this job appeal to you and why? Really think about what is the company's general reputation? What is the reputation of its leaders? What do you admire about their products, their services? Has the company achieved any awards that you think are actually amazing? What are the company's values? What's the company's positioning in the marketplace? You can also go onto LinkedIn and see if any of your contacts have ever worked at that particular company and ask them what they love about the company. And then you can go in and say to the potential employer, you have known people who have said X, Y, or Z about the company, and then you can explain why those traits are important to you. And one more thing, check out their community outreach, and that's another approach to that answer. I've noticed that your company does this and has these events, so your products and your philanthropy show you to be a company that cares about both the bottom line and giving back to society, and that's something that's really important to me.
Really, what it comes down to is, as an applicant, do your homework.
Yes.
Come prepared to the interview. Don't think you're going to wing it.
And once again, we all hate to hear that, but we really do. If you really want that job, not just a job, but this job at this particular company, do your homework.
Exactly. It's well worth it.
Yes.
Kim, thank you so much. Great tips. See you next week.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.